Good day, dear friend. Welcome to this, the last day of May 2026, on this beautiful, glorious Sunday afternoon. Oh my God. Mrs. L and I had a glorious day today, tooling about. I got to tell you, could not have found a better day, better everything, better you name it. And my friends, you would not believe the number of people that I run into. I don't talk about this too often, but who recognize yours truly and us. And I said, "Oh, do you mean, where do you see this?" And they said, "Do you mean on TV or whatever?" He goes, "No, on the YouTube channel." There are more people who are a member of what we do. There are more people who enjoy what we do than you can imagine. And it is hitting, it is resonating, and whatever it's worth, it is the most gratifying thing in the world. And I thank you for that. I thank you. As we speak, I think I told you before. Remember, I'm just a modest host. I am 46 subscriptions away from 400,000. I'm at 39, 399, 954. And it's just, I don't know, sometimes it hits. And every single one of my humble, honest process here is because of you, dear friend. Seriously, I know that sounds kind of corny. I mean, every bit of it. Your support, all of this has been just because of you. Because of you, it is absolutely incredible. So today, I'm sitting around, we're having a wonderful repast. And we were in oh my God, we're tooling about the countryside in Jersey in parts that are just Civil War. The history is incredible. Going to various farms, getting ready for very, very soon the tomato season, this and that. It just So as I am talking with a friend, I thought somebody who's not necessarily the most connected. I shouldn't say not connected, but not a political animal. I brought up the fact. I said, "What do you think about Erika Kirk?" Just in passing, and I thought she'd say, "No, who is that again?" Erika Kirk. Without hesitation, without so much as batting an eye, it was fake. Immediately. Fake. And I said, "May I ask you a question? Whom would you consider to be fake on that line?" She couldn't answer the question. I mean, she could answer the question, but she said, "Nobody really comes to mind." Is there anybody who you think is fake? Who's fake? Who is not what they appear to be? Is Madonna fake? And we discussed this. She says, "No. Madonna rather, is exactly what she appears to be. She is not fake. She is callous, cold. She is without the ability to connect with anybody. She is not fake." I said, "Well, what about Meghan Markle? She's not fake. She's real. She is cold, calculating, disjointed, disconnected. She is that way." Another friend of mine said, by the way, it's funny because he said, "You mentioned this letter from Erika. I got one too." Now, I don't know if they're selling names or labels, which happens. There's nothing really that big of a deal, but they are selling me. My Mrs. L is going to get one. I think it's still. I think I'm going to frame this because I still cannot believe that somebody can be so disconnected, so detached from reality that she would not understand how she is being perceived. This is something which I don't understand. There was a special we were watching about Marilyn Monroe. Marilyn Monroe is what, going to be 100? Her centenary? 100 years old. Marilyn Monroe, who lives on, obviously. And Nobody thought of her as fake. And I've been trying to think of somebody who is inauthentic to the level that she is. Somebody who is completely inauthentic, somebody who is fake, somebody who's earthed, somebody who's plastic, somebody who's not legitimate. Who would this person be? And we can't find it. Don't know where she is. It is beyond anything. And for nothing better. And we can go through different examples, that sort of thing. And that's terrific. But it is the most incredible thing in the world that she is absolutely, positively, without peer in terms of not being real, where you as a human being are saying, and I'm not believing any of this. And one of the things which I'm doing is I want to again, we were talking about this. I said, the person I feel so sorry for, and I can't get away from it. I can't get around it. Is Charlie. I can't get away from Charlie. I can't get away from the fact that he has just been abandoned. Charlie has been abandoned. Nobody cares about him. Nobody's even talking about him. They talk about him only to raise money. It's the most incredible thing in the world. They're actually using AI voices, and it is. Christine Feckerty did a wonderful piece about this, which I can't even believe what I'm seeing. Feckerty's been terrific. Nissy's been terrific. Fredo has been great. Go down the list. It's like, my God. Now, up till now, I've been a little understanding regarding the notion of, and I'm saying this, of AI. I thought AI is going to be a look. We had AI kind of sort of in the past. We've always had things like, Photoshop. We've always had things like this. We've always had this. What are we going to do? I mean, let's face it. Come on, we can't go crazy. And then I'm thinking, no. This is so, and I can't believe I'm even saying this. It is a sin. It is desecration. And under the laws, under libel and slander law, under defamation law, you cannot libel somebody who is dead. You can't. It's impossible. It doesn't work that way. You can't libel somebody who's dead. Once you're dead, that is it. That is it. Do you understand what I'm saying? That is it. You can't lie. You can't do it to somebody who is dead. Doesn't work. You just can't do it. You might be able to have sometimes maybe with a little bit of, how do I say this? Perhaps maybe image for terms of copyright, that sort of thing. But you cannot libel. You cannot defame somebody who is dead. And I know that when people have died in the past, they try to use holograms of Michael Jackson and holograms of, who was it? Was it Prince or other? I don't know. Oh, Whitney Houston. Yes. But it was just them performing. It was just, they were doing what they did before. For some reason, it didn't grab me. It didn't hurt me as much. It didn't bother me. It didn't seem like such an affront. You know what I'm saying? It didn't seem like this is beyond reproach. This is a crime. It didn't seem like that. This is different. To have Charlie posthumously say things he never would have said before. Oh, I want my wife to basically abandon and abnegate her role of being a mother to our children and run my organization. A woman has the leadership skills of a rutabaga. I'm going to have her do it. It is a sin. I am saying sin more than I have, I think, in my entire life. I am seeing things right now that are absolutely sinful, that are beyond just not wrong, but they're fundamentally beyond reproach, beyond anything I've ever seen before. And nobody is stopping this. So I want you to read this. If you missed yesterday, we had quite a cacophonous meeting, and I want to bring something to your attention. This was a letter, and you're going to be reading. By the way, please let me know. Email me, Lionel@lionelmedia.com, if you get one of these things, because they're all over the place. They're all, and then there's the money thing. But again, going through this is my response. This is my rebuke. This is my indictment. This is what I'm seeing. Which again, and I was telling people about this. I said, I can't believe this. From the desk of Erika Kirk, it's. Maybe you're like this. Maybe you're thinking, well, maybe I'm just getting too wrapped up in it. No, I'm being lied to. Over the past 8+ months, 8+ months. I don't know who writes like this. 8+, the number 8 and the number plus. By the way, the rule in English is if it's 10, from 1 to 10, you write out the number. It's been 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 4. You write it out. THREE. After 10, you put the number 11, 12, whatever. This is the rule. This is a rule of grammar. This is the way you write. This is what we've done. So this is in the last 8+ months. I have heard from so many of Charlie's supporters, their thoughts, prayers, and love for Charlie and the impact he had on this country. I am beyond thankful for the outpouring of support. They're not showing support. This is bereavement. And I'm going to also be a little punctilious about this, perhaps a bit priggish. She's talking about their thoughts and prayers and the impact he had. This is not support. They loved him. He changed their life. Somebody somewhere has absolutely, positively has to understand and correct this. Since Charlie's murders, he writes, Turning Point USA has experienced unprecedented interest in our programs. Again, this is the strangest. Turning Point USA has experienced unprecedented interest. It has experienced interest in our programs from everyday Americans who are fed up with political violence and who want to honor Charlie's vision for America. Has experienced interest. This is most maladroit. It should have, we have seen unprecedented interest from people to and regarding TPUSA. Not TPUSA has experienced interest. Others have been interested in. I know this may not sound like much to you, but this goes to show you, because these are basically children writing this. Over 120,000 young people have asked how to bring Turning Point USA to their schools. Do you believe this? Anybody, do you believe this? Do you believe any of this? Do you believe this? We've launched more than 5,000 high school and college student chapters. More than 10,000 pastors have partnered with us to bring pro-America programming to their churches. Charlie and TPUSA videos have been viewed billions of times. That may be true. Over 1 million teachers and parents requested our classroom curricula. What are the curricula? When was the last time? Please answer me. When was the last time anybody, from Colvette to Chucky to Mikey to this, to that, to Erika, who's ever talked about basically Milton Friedman-esque types of thoughts? And have you heard anything like that? Anybody? Have you heard anything about limited government? About the profound interest in kind of a sort of a libertarian way of it? Never. Have you heard Erika say anything even remotely resembling that? What she's talked about without hesitation has been how she herself has suffered, how she herself has been the victim, how she herself has been the recipient of hatred and discourtesy, how she has suffered the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, how she has, and Candace, stop it. She has never once mentioned limited government. She has never mentioned anything about kind of like a Mises or a Von Hayek type of a thing. Never. Now, all of a sudden, they cobbled this together using her as kind of like the rodeo dummy. With everyone's heartfelt support, we will continue Charlie's vision and spread Turning Point USA even further than he imagined. What does that mean? How? What are you doing? The assassin who took Charlie's life and the evildoers who threatened him for years didn't just try to silence a man. They tried to silence the national involvement Charlie built. Is there anybody within my voice right now who thinks that, seriously, answer me, who thinks that Tyler Robinson is responsible? Is there anybody? Anybody at all? We have become so callous, so unbelievable callous when it comes to the notion of dispatch and murder and assassination. We have become habituated to it. We have become conditioned to it in ways I never thought even remotely possible. I mean that. I mean that. There are people, we are just, how many times have you heard people say, kind of somewhat joking, I think Marjorie Taylor Greene said it, by the way, I'm not considering, self-harm. And it's become almost like a joke where you're telling people, you're signaling to the world, oh, by the way, I'm not thinking about this, because they are so used to the fact that this even happens. It's beyond anything I've ever even. And what's happening is, this tells me that we have become so used to this. So it's horrible. Can you imagine somebody saying on a regular basis, Alex Jones said it, other people have said, or it's become a joke. Hey, by the way, I'm not planning anything, where we're joking about it, because you have been habituated to this. You have absolutely, positively been habituated to this. You have been in the position where you have become acclimated to this. You have been told repeatedly, oh, by the way, don't worry about this. Seriously, don't worry. This is something you just, what are you going to do? This is unbelievable. She further writes, if they thought Charlie's mission was powerful before, they have no idea what they just unleashed, not just across this country, but in me and our team at Turning Point. The movement Charlie began is ready to do even more in his fight for the future of America. And she never even talks about exactly what it is. Isn't that funny? She talks around it. She can't wait to say, give me the money. So she pretends like she's making some reference to it. Well, what is the message? Well, Charlie's strong message. What was the message? Well, his belief in what? What are we talking about? Do you see what's happening here? It's beyond. And it's only just begun. If for no other reason, and this may be a bit odd to say this, but for no other reason, maybe we have become so sharpened and so attuned and so pitch perfect to lies that maybe this shook people up. This is going to be the red pill moment that many, many people in this generation refer to. They're going to refer to this as their red pill moment. They're going to refer to this as their 9/11 moment. Everybody here, what was your moment? What was your time? And especially if you're older, it is critical for us, and I mean this, and I'm not being gratuitous. It's important for us to reach out to our younger brothers and sisters and say, I want you to share this with me. This is their first, and I'm dead serious. This is the first time they've ever felt the horror of being betrayed by something bigger than them, and the horror that they're feeling by noticing nobody's talking about it. They've forgotten Charlie. This country has forgotten Charlie Kirk. We haven't, but the country has, because the country has the attention span of a gnat. Think about that. Think about what we're talking about. We have forgotten everything. We do this. I've seen this. I've seen this before. There are people who are still unaware of 9/11. Go down the list. They don't know. Let me ask you a question. Very, very simple. Do you believe America has already forgotten Charlie Kirk? Not you, not us, not Candace, not everybody. But do you believe America has forgotten Charlie Kirk? Do you think America has moved on and said, oh, well, another one that we've lost. He'll be in the memoriam at the end of the year. Do you believe so? Do you believe that America's already just forgotten everything? David says yes. TD says yes. Think about this. Cyrene, yes, sir. Yep, look at this. Who else? Who is it? Soon. America's not even talking about Charlie. America's not even talking about her. Not even talking. anything about him. Nobody on the cable news. Fox isn't. Jesse Waters isn't. Hannity isn't. Nobody's doing. They're not even too sure they're talking about even her anymore. They've forgotten him. It's already done. They don't really care about this trial. They think it's open and shut. I'm telling you, the reason why you're not hearing anything about this is because they want you to forget it. And they've also told, I have no reason to believe, but I wouldn't be surprised. They have told news agencies, if we hear you bring anything up about Charlie, if you so much as mention Charlie, you could forget any funding, any deals. We want this to go bye-bye. Forget it. Laura says nobody cares. They want us to forget Charlie Kirk. Yes, Rebecca says this. This is absolutely true. You have got to be in the listen. I'm telling you, you have got to be in to be presented with the country not caring anything about what's happening. I was here in New York City and saw everybody turn their back on what was happening in 9/11. I couldn't believe what was happening. We have buildings going like this, boom, boom, and I said, This is implosion. This is controlled demolition. Oh, stop it. What's the matter with you? Don't you know that's jet fuel? And I heard this and I said, what are you talking about? Jet fuel doesn't work like that. What do you know? And then they fight you. And it was forgotten. And the best part about it is that they show never forget. They still say in New York, never forget. In fact, what I do is I always put, because we have, the two blue beams. There's one picture that has three. And what it is the third one is building 7. Nobody knows about that. Go down the list. Nobody knows anything about this. I was talking about Andrew Breitbart the other day. I said, what do you think happened to Andrew Breitbart? Everything they talked about, everything that during the church commission that they talked about these weapons to dispatch people, they got Breitbart. People looked at me and they say, what are you talking about? I said, where have you been? What do you know? What bothers you? What keeps you up? Have you ever gotten angry? I ask people this. Have you ever gotten angry about anything? Have they ever taken away somebody that you loved? Anybody? And the more they forget it, the more these letters go out, the more important it is for Candace and others. I mean it. Look, I'm just at the point now where I'm thinking, you're not going to forget him. You've forgotten everything else. You're not going to forget him. And you're not going to forget this trial. And you're not going to do something. You're not going to harm that kid because he had nothing to do with it. And this may be absolutely inconceivable for people to understand this. Erika Kirk writes, supposedly, let me be clear, the movement my husband built will never be stopped. What is your movement? It's about the money. It's about the money. That's the movement she talks about. She couldn't explain the movement. Erika, talk to me about limited government. Talk to me about this. Talk to me about limited government. What does this mean? What does give limited? What does this mean? Is this Hayek? Remember Friedrich Hayek? Remember that one? Is that it? Remember Keynes, Murray Rothbard, and do you remember that Ludwig von Mises? Don't you feel like somebody should say, you're embarrassing me? If somebody were to tell, let's say somebody were interested in viral transmissibility, and you took Erika Kirk to talk about retroviri and mRNA, don't you would say, okay, now we've gone too far? Do you understand what a dumb shit this person is? She is beyond ignorant, and you're having her do this. Look at this. Charlie gave everything for his country, and I refuse to let his name be just a footnote in history. So why are you contributing to his being forgotten by the memory hole status of him, by perpetuating your own story? Why are you turning people off to his message and boring us with how you fared? We will not let the light he lit go out. Not now, not ever. And I invite you today to join me in supporting this mission Charlie's life's work to save America. You just want money. How is Erika Kirk going to spread this word? It is embarrassing. It is embarrassing. It goes against everything. She is telling, it is, you should be furious to have this charlatan. When I used to see people, and this, maybe you're used to it, but when I used to see a lot of these evangelicals, and I used to study them, and they say, right now for $50, I'll send you a prayer cloth. I will send you a cloth that I personally pray upon for $50. For $100, I'll sell you a cloth that has been doused in my tears. And I'm thinking, you're going to be hit by lightning sometime. Is there any end to this? They did this. Nobody arrested these people. Nobody arrested. I'm thinking to myself, well, it was free speech. They took people. Listen to what I'm telling you. Listen to me. In our country, in the name of God, as the great Father Jim Lloyd would say, and they brought people who were so desperate for cures for their disease. They would bring these people who were so weak, almost too weak to travel, seriously bring them to these faith healing seminars because they had nothing left. And these vultures preyed upon these people. They preyed upon these people. And that's what she's doing. She's using your fear, your disgust, your anger, the trepidation and the harm that you feel is going to befall your country by just running this stuff in front of your face. She's tantalizing you with this. And just when I think, you know what, it's done. I'm thinking maybe it's done. Oh no, she's told you right now, if you think I'm going away. And by the way, and all of these other children, these twits, these people in this TPUSA, you got to ask yourself, what are they doing? Do they not understand how this works? Do they not seriously understand this? What's happening next? I'm seeing stuff right now that's happening. I don't get any of it. Did you see this collapse of this Freedom 250, this musical concert with Milli Vanilli? They finally closed it down. Who picked one half of a fraudulent? Now think about this. Now you're thinking I'm going too far. I know this. Who was it who said, let's have this fraudulent musical con known for deception and lying to people, because they never did. It was all recorded by other people. It was lip synced. And let's take the guy who did not perish by his own hand, I believe. I'm not even sure. And let's have him. And even he turned President Trump down. Milli Vanilli. Who in the White House? See, you might think to yourself, oh, you're making too much out of it. No. Does Stephen Miller or Hegseth or any of the geniuses, Susie Wiles, say, Mr. President, you can't have Milli Vanilli on? What are you doing? Because this symbol is that you're honoring deception and fraud. This is the Ponzi scheme of music. Do you see what I'm saying? This is why people don't understand what's with Erika. They don't even understand the Milli Vanilli thing because they don't think. There's no circuit breaker in their own mind that goes off where they say, I can't do this anymore. It's just unbelievable. Have you ever wondered why people have not said anything? Why Christians, up to and including the Pope, have not talked about the slaughter of Christians in the world? Can you explain that one to me? He's big on exorcism. Okay, fine. Big on AI. Oh, come on, Leo. Let's talk about this. Let's go around the world and talk to people who are harassing and murdering Christians. Don't you see this? I used to think, oh, I'm just used to it. I'm never getting used to it. I get more angry than ever. I can't believe what I'm seeing. We have here in New York City this World Cup bullshit, which I don't even, whatever. God bless you. This is going to be the human trafficking event, in some cases, of a lifetime. They are getting their best girls and gals and kids together, and they're going to ship them on over, and they're going to make a fortune because people are coming here and they're saying it. They think that in America you can get whatever you want. We have declared war on children. My wife's working it every single day. Did you hear what I said? Has Erika Kirk ever talked about that? No, she's talking about limited government. Are you shitting me? This one, this nincompoop? Kids have never talked. The Epstein files, completely and totally forgotten. Completely and totally. There's this biopic about Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson didn't do diddly squat compared to what happened in Epstein file. Why has this happened? Because we've forgotten it. They're telling you we're not going to do anything about this. They want to keep you in suspended animation. Well, Erika, not this time. Not this time. Sorry. I represent legions of people. Erika, people, let me explain this to you, honey. There are people who despise you. I mean, down to their soul, not because of what you look like, not because of what you've done, not because you're a phony nothing. That's not it. Because you desecrate the image of Charlie. You will never, ever be able to win them back. You'll never be able to. There is no forgiveness for this one. And you have the old Yamamoto, you've awakened the sleeping giant. There are people, Erika, who don't care about anything, they just mention your name, show your picture, and they are ape shit, out of the chute, nuts. They despise you. You have no idea. And you can sit there with Barry Weiss, who doesn't have a clue about CBS or TV, and you don't understand this. And you write this? They're insulting. She's insulting you. She says, not only do I not give a shit about what you think, I'm going to send out letters and thank you for joining me. Say, did you not hear what we said? No, because she's telling you, you don't mean anything to me. Candace doesn't mean anything to me. Who does Candace think she is? I'm Erika Kirk. Did you hear what I just said? Did you hear what I just said? She is saying, listen to me. She's telling Candace, who do you think you are? You and your Brigitte Macron thing, you're just worried about whether this guy's got a pecker or not. Come on. You are not serious. Do you not know who Candace is? Do you not know? Years ago, this hip-hop rap music is bullshit. Nobody's going to like that. It's not popular. Do you know what you're saying? Do you know what rap and hip-hop did around the world? And there are people who said, it's crap. You may think so, but it's enormous. They don't understand this. They don't get it. People during the Vietnam War, they said, Americans never turn away from war. They respect war. They understand. They respect the fact that we have to stop communism. They're not going to give in to this. They're not going to lose sight of this fact. Americans aren't going to do this. And I'm thinking, do you know what you're talking about? There are people, this has captivated music. There are musical groups. There is a musical movement that hates this war. You will never, ever be able to get these people back. Never. They will refer to the Vietnam War. Oh, come on. No, you don't know. They didn't get it. They didn't get it. Now, granted, they didn't stop wars in the future, but they didn't get it. You see, they don't understand this. They think you're petty. They think you're just mean, that you're just pushing this old gal around, this poor widow, and there's something wrong with you. They don't get it. Erika, I'm telling you right now, from my point of view, please keep this up, because I'm able, and other people are able to just not fuel this, but actually provide a platform for people to say, can you believe what we're seeing here? Can you believe this? Can you believe this? That there is somebody this clueless and nobody, and they have her sending out a letter? Look at this one. This is the money part. My check is enclosed. Our mission. This is what Erika, this is personal reply. Erika's mission, our mission. Identify, educate, train, and organize students to promote the principles of freedom, free markets, and limited government. You've never mentioned limited government once. Do you think we're stupid? Free markets? The only markets you know about is that ALO, whatever that thing is, where I don't know if that's ever panned out. She doesn't. It's an insult to you. She's talking about von Mises, free markets. Oh, they must. You know what they would. You know what they're saying to you? They say, "Hey, listen, Charlie lover, we don't give a shit what you think. We never respected you from the beginning. Just shut up and pay. Pay her. Pay her like you always have. Pay her. You see that USA? We think you're one of these lemmings. You see USA and you just you're just some seal in some circus act. Just shut up and pay. Quit asking questions. It's got USA in there. We understand you and your patriotism. We understand how you feel you're losing your country. We understand this. So shut up and pay. This is our vision. This is what she said. Our vision. An America where every young person is enlightened to conservative free market values through nonpartisan debate, dialogue, and discussion. Nonpartisan debate? Let's try debating whether Tyler Robinson had anything to do with the murder of... Ooh, oh, no, I don't mean that. Nonpartisan debate? What have you ever debated? Take all the time in the world you want, honey. What have you ever debated? When have you ever talked about free market or anything? When have you debated anyone? You've never debated anyone. You've been a guest. You've been with Megyn Kelly and Barry Weiss and this and that. What have you... Let me try this again. Anybody here remember her debating anybody? Where she was against somebody? Now, I don't know what... I think Candace is being too kind. But for the love of God, please unleash her. Unleash these two. 90 minutes in the octagon, no interruptions. Go. Just do it. Debate her. Come on, tough guy. Debate Candace Owens. Put your money where your mouth is. You know what? I'll tell you what. I think, maybe you're with me on this, we'll figure out some kind of a challenge. If you can score any point, anything, I don't know how you're going to measure this. I don't know what metric you're going to use. But people say, okay, I'll devote, but you've got to debate like you're talking about debating. You've got to debate Candace. And talk about your principles, limited government, fiscal responsibility, and free markets. This is in this free markets. Do you know how they're insulting you? Maybe they're going to be talking about Keynesian economics or some type of... This woman who can barely get through a sentence without looking around and saying, when do I cry? You know, this tear stick is catching it. So let's do this. I'm serious. I'm really serious. You want to debate? Debate Candace on anything. Limited government? Limited government. I swear to you, I would pay anything to just hear this. What do you think? They can't teach her this. No, ear cues, no cue cards, no nothing. Can you imagine what that's like? Can you imagine this? This is the contempt she has for you. This is the absolute, utter, unmitigating, the contempt that this woman has. And nobody's saying, well, we are. Nothing. Where in the hell are Charlie's parents? Why don't they just go? Somebody give them a microphone and say, hello, my name is, I'm Charlie's father. This is Charlie's mother. And we like to reach out and say, who killed our son? Don't forget us. This was our son. This was my boy. This was, have her his sister. Why have we been just kicked to the curb? Would you help us? This is killing us. Who in the name of God would ever think that this horrible woman would be able to take my son's legacy and hijack it? This horrible woman who said one time that Charlie was closer, in essence, with her mother. Oh, how they loved each other. How Laurie Franz and them would spend the time. Remember this? Remember this? How she took our son's body and desecrated, used him as a prop, and lay over him in this cold, awful funeral home, mic'd. You heard her whispering. They mic'd her. It was a performance, and the prop was our son. Those dead hands were the hands that he used one time to hold his children. These were his hands. They're using, she exploited his corpse. I mean, and she's quoting the Bible. Where have we been? Tell people this. She didn't sign any NDA. Doesn't this absolutely enrage you? And if you're not enraged, you're simply not paying attention. It's the most incredible thing I've ever seen in my life. I mean it. I mean it. You could take every other con artist from Madonna to Meghan Markle to this to Kim Kardashian to Paris Hilton to I don't know who, to even Fergie. And they never really lied about what they did. They were just scam artists, and no, they didn't really make any promises. This one will say anything. Anything. They even had, imagine, I'm still the character of Charlie's parents. They reenacted the tent, his death scene, his denouement, his finale. And they had people actually, seriously, actually taking selfies in something that mimicked or recreated where he was shot down like a dog. And nobody. And she wants to talk about limited government. Our beliefs. This is from her. And you'll be getting, let me know if you get one of these. The United States of America is the greatest country in the history of the world. The United States Constitution is the most exceptional political document ever written. Capitalism is the most moral and proven economic system ever discovered. From this ditz, how angry are you right now? How angry are you? Are you mildly PO'd? Are you mildly miffed? How angry are you? And if you've given up, seriously, I can't blame you. If you said, look, I'm sorry, I can't ride this roller coaster. I'll let you do it. I understand completely. I really do. It just, do you understand how bad this is? Do you have any idea of what's being done? This could be, Bernie Madoff never believed what he was saying. Bernie Madoff never believed in his Ponzi scheme. He knew it was false. He knew it. He was just hoping it would go on long enough where he could maybe recoup or do something, where he got too far behind. She believes this. But most importantly, she believes it because she doesn't care. Could any of you do this? Do you believe in conscience? Do you believe in a moral regulator, a morality circuit breaker? Do you? Something in you that kicks us, I can't do this. I cannot do this. I cannot do this. Let me ask you something. I asked somebody one time, I said, could you imagine ever stealing from Make-A-Wish? You know the Make-A-Wish Foundation? A little kid wants to go to Disney World before he dies, let's say. And you steal, let's say, from that fund. Most people would say, I can't do that. I can't. Why? I just can't. That's the highest level of civilization you have. When nobody even knows it, you don't do something, and it's not because you're going to be caught, but you, in your own sense, not because of the Bible, not because of God, not because of Jesus, not because of anything, because you internally, you're saying, I can't do this. I will hate myself. I will despise myself. And if I ever do something where I lose my ballast, my connection to my principles, I'm dead. My soul is gone. I will have, and that's the way most moral people do. Most moral people say, I can't do this. Look, I'll go up there. I'm a politician. Yeah, I'll lie a little bit. But certain things I can't do. If something ever happened to my wife, and I think I can speak for her the other way, and somebody suggested to me that it would really be something if they mic'd me up and let me lay atop or across her open casket so that we can make sure we get their hands, and that when I whisper and whimper and simper and cry and whisper through a veil of absolute horror her name, that it can hear my voice. I'm not somebody who's violent. Never. But I think I'd make an exception. I think I would do this because it would trigger something in me so animalistic, so primitive, that I don't think I'd be able to stop. I think this is an assault. The fact that you would even say this, the fact that you would think I would even entertain this, the fact that you think you would ever say this to me, think about that. It's just 6 days, 7 days after her husband is shot down. She is in the hey guys moment. I mean, do you understand this? Do you? And if you sat down with her, and if I could look her in the eye and say, Erika, let me ask you a question. Seriously, I'm not kidding. It's like the line from the Armin McCarthy hearing. At long last, have you no decency? Do you not understand this? How is this positioned to you? Where is that alarm that would normally go off in you that would say, I can't do this? I can't. And whoever advised this, I'm firing you. This was my husband. This is daddy to my two children. This is beyond. And it never. Nothing. I used to fight back the notion of this being psychopathy. I used to resist the notion that she was a psychopath. I thought that was too much. that word was used too much, and I think it was used. How else can you explain this? How else can you explain this? Think about that. And you only could just look for your own. Just say, what would I do? What would I do? Can you believe this? Every now and then something will happen where you can say, how did somebody do this? When you hear about a parent who leaves their kid in a car in a parking lot in a mall in the hot summer heat so they can go in and drink, there were. Have you ever heard of something which is so conscience shattering that it almost hurts to imagine? Where you're saying, remember the woman, Mary, whatever her name is, who had her 3 children strapped into the back seat of their car? She drove it into a pond or a lake or something because she wanted to get rid of them because she was in love with somebody. And she talked about some black guy who did. Remember that? When she fastened them in their seats and maybe calmed them down and maybe told them a story just to calm their kids, and she did this. I remember one time thinking, I can't even understand this. It's like I'm listening to somebody speaking a language. I don't understand this. I don't understand this. I used to think to myself, is this a human? Are we made of the same stuff? Am I overreacting to this? And if I was more, I guess, of the praying time, I would say, God, can you explain this one to me? How bad are you at building a human? I mean, I know we're all into free will, but how did you ever allow this to even happen? Animals don't do this. Every now and then, an animal how do I say this? An animal will reject the runt of the litter, will do whatever because she doesn't have, the mother does not have whatever. And it's not a personal thing. It's kind of survival of the fittest, but it's, but other than that, some of this animal that is so primitive instinctually knows if you get near her offspring, and yet this woman, a human being. So I'm not trying to compare her to that, but it's something like that. How many kids do you think were affected permanently and negatively by Charlie's demise? How many people do you think? How many? You think some kids are really, no? Everybody? How about that young lady, Aubrey, whatever, I forget her name, Lindsay, Aubrey, whatever the name was. She was fired because she might have said something. And these kids who were working slave labor, who believed just like, oh, well, la-di-da, la-di-da. How many of them do you think are really, really messed up? How many? Sit down, Erika, sit down. How many people do you think so? And by the way, somebody asked, do you think people hate her because she's dumb? No. It's dumb to think that. Let me ask you something. Why do you think people hate her? Let me ask you. Why do you think people hate her? Answer it. Tell me. Tell me. This is important because every now and then somebody will say, I'm gonna mosey on into this conversation and say something stupid. So I'm gonna give you the benefit of the doubt. Why do you think so? Why do you think? That creepy vibe? No, not because of that. She is a fraud. Her actions. Susan Smith's story, yes. That she was carjacked. Right. Remember the guy who took his, who took his wife and his like, 3 daughters and shoved them down or whatever because he also found somebody else. Wife and daughters. Why do you think she is so disliked? And if you want to call it hate, whatever you want to call it, why do you think so? See, people have a hard time with the word hate. I really don't understand why it's such a bad word. Hate is a very, very serious word. And it so perfectly says, we don't hate people for, we hate what people do. Somebody who does something which is so reprehensible. Why do you think it is? Why do you think people hate them? Why? Explain it. See, if you don't get to that, if we don't do a better job explaining this, we're kind of wasting our time. Because people don't understand it. If you don't understand this, if you don't get what she did, you can't play. And people should be able to know enough about this before they, how do I say this? People should have some modicum of information before they even weigh in. They just have to. Because if you don't know anything about this, then what's the point? It's like people who will talk about JFK's assassination and they've studied nothing about it, or UFOs or whatever it is. But if you don't know anything about this, now this is what you're doing. She's a liar. Many people are liars. Hate is a valid emotion when you have been wronged or betrayed. Absolutely. Absolutely. Rick Shorty Long, by the way, one of the most incredibly talented people you have ever seen, says she acts like someone asking, what would a normal person do? Yes. Yes. Do you know, and thank you, Richard, Rick, Dick, Shorty, I love you for that. It's almost like people are saying, I don't know what to tell you. Remember when you have to teach a child why something is wrong. Now, this may not seem like much to you. This may not seem like something that is a fair comparison, but I think it's a wonderful comparison. And I think what's the most interesting part is that it's used to show, kind of by comparison, the levels of understanding, because I love the psychology part of it. But when you're trying to explain to a kid, you have to do this thing called empathy, and to be empathic. And empathic is a very, very difficult thing to explain. How would you feel if something like this happened to you? How would you feel if somebody took your bike? How would you feel? How would you, you know what I mean? How would you feel? And that's one of the things which we're able to try to exact. And it's the first thing the kids kind of know. It's like, oh, okay, yeah. And remember this, most kids understand it. They'll say, wow, damn, you're right about that. Shit. I never thought about that. How would I feel? I'd feel awful. How would you feel if somebody said that to you? How would you feel? One of the things which is the most important things to ask people, how would you feel? It's one of those things which is the most important thing. When people talked about years ago, I know nobody wants to talk about it now, but when people talked about things like Gaza and whatever, they would always ask questions like, how would you feel if somebody came to your house and somebody said, I think we're going to take your house? Why? Well, because of my understanding of my religion, I think my religion shows me that I am entitled to your property. And I can show you right here in the book of whatever it is, I am entitled to your property. And here's, how would you feel? And then people would say, I never really thought about that before. Yes. And the old how would you feel is one of those things which is the way from kids on down the line. How would you feel? Or would you do this? See, one of the things which is so fascinating is that in the levels of the way we process things, there is this, it's like Maslow's, hierarchy. There's memorization, pattern recognition, and then understanding, and then application, analysis and metaphor, and then analysis later on, and then creativity, and then wisdom. And there's all these things that people really get us like, wow. And you see, one of the things when you really get it, you get into like reflexive awareness. Like I've been thinking a lot about developmental psychology, especially, and how kids are, as they grow, they think different things. Sensory, reflexive awareness is that first level when, you pull your hand away from a stove. That's not even, it's completely instinct, basic. Then there's sensory consciousness. This is where you know where you are and you feel maybe danger or you're hungry or something. It's, you have to interpret something. It's a little bit of like, but it's your sensory. And then you get to emotional consciousness, which is that next level. This is where you feel emotional memory, happy, angry, joy. It's not necessarily life sustaining, but fear, attachment, longing, friendship. Then the next level is social consciousness. This is where you feel empathy and deception and right or wrong and hey, that's not fair, and tribal loyalty. And then self-awareness to go on. This is the I know that I know. It's the mirror test level. The individual recognizes himself as an individual separate from everybody else. And humans possess this deeply. A few animals, by the way, apparently have it. Then there's abstract thought. This is the next level. Do you have the ability to imagine things that don't physically exist? Math, religion, philosophy, art, laws, music, creating, humans dominate this. Then the next level is metacognition, thinking about thinking, philosophy, meditation, deep introspective, doubting beliefs. How do I know? How do I believe this? Losing your faith, questioning God, questioning love, questioning. Then the next stage is moral consciousness. You see how we're getting more and more complex as this kind of goes up the ladder? And as I'm telling you this, think of Erika. Awareness of right or wrong, beyond, simple survival, but just sacrifice, justice, mercy, guilt, the stuff that AI, by the way, can't do. Then the next level is existential awareness. Why am I here? What happens after death? What's my purpose? Is there faith? Does God exist? Does God love me? Is anybody listening to me? And then the ultimate, the transcendent or the mystical. This is the highest described, the ultimate state in many traditions that humans possess. This is where there's unity, ego, kind of reference and dissolution, spiritual awakening, divine connection, cosmic awareness, mystic saints, meditators. It's the big I understand moment. I get it. Sometimes people are thinking about using perhaps maybe psychedelic drugs and others to help. Who knows? So when you look, I hate to go from that to Erika, what level is she stuck in? This is a person who was not clearly understood. She is not developed. It's not that she's stupid, but the stuff that I just told you, she hasn't developed. Hers is mimicking. She's pretending. It's a work. She's acting. She's acting desperately to have you believe. She's trying to look like somebody who wants to be what she wants to be. I think this is what Rick Shorty Long said. She wants to be this. This is serious business here. She is, if anything, priests and religious folks should use her as an example. I mean, this is incredible. And then she writes this ostensibly. She doesn't write, of course, but somebody writes it. And you get this stuff. Look at this. Personal reply to Dear Erika, yes, you have my total heartfelt support. I am honored to stand by your side. I know you and the rest of Turning Point USA will not only protect Charlie's memory, you will drive his mission forward. The country needs his voice more than ever. To help, I am closing a special donation in honor of Charlie. Please accept my gift in the amount of $35 or $550, $1,000. Wow. Wow. And when I tell people, I can tell immediately. I can always tell when somebody understands exactly what I'm saying. And I can tell when they're looking at me and say, I don't really get it. Because they themselves are little like mini Erikas. Because they've never really known truth in their life. I don't know. They really don't understand it. And merely in Charlie, he's going to be forgotten. I've seen this. I remember one time there was this is a very, very important case. The first time I always loved medical examiners and forensic pathology. Always loved it. Loved it. It's fascinating. And somebody one time were saying, they said, this person is telling you, look what they did to me. Look what they did to me. I obviously can't tell. I don't leave a recording, but I'll leave you clues. And I'll leave you clues. Check my blood. Check for extraneous chemicals, for poisons. Check the look of my body. Check for algor mortis, the temperature. Take my temperature, internal temperature. That'll tell you how long I've been here. Look at livor mortis, lividity. Look at whether blood deposition has pooled. That means they moved me or didn't move me. Look at rigor mortis, algor mortis, livor mortis, rigor mortis. See where this is, because it goes from loose to stiff to loose again. And that will tell you. Check the back of my jaws. Look at my eyes. Look at the sclera. Look for petechial hemorrhaging. That's a sign normally of strangulation or suffocation. Please. In the old days, they would look for this thing called burking. Burking is when they would find the imprint of a button. There was a time when medical schools would spend big money in getting cadavers for autopsies in medical schools, and they all the grave robbers went on. Sometimes they weren't very usable. They said, no, we need something fresh. Is it fresh? So they would go on and they would accelerate that process. And sometimes they would actually sit on the chest of somebody to suppress respiration without breaking things. And you would often see the button of their shirt impressed upon that was called burking. And there's all kinds of different things. Look at the Epstein case. Look at the hyoid bone, thyroid cartilage, telltale, fractured, never happens. In suspension, asphyxiation, never. You know exactly what happened. So what happened is they're calling you. What is Charlie saying to you right now? What is Charlie saying? This may be too heavy for you. I understand it. But I think to myself, what is Charlie saying? I think Charlie's saying, don't worry about it. I knew it would come. It's the life I chose. Yeah, but Charlie, who did this? I don't know. Does it matter? Does it matter? Yeah, it matters. There's a difference between being removed in a bar fight and removed from a government, or removed from a politician, or removed from somebody else. It makes a big, big, big difference. So you got to ask yourself the question, really, who did this? And nobody cares. And I would ask that waste of flesh Cash Patel, have you looked at this? Can you look at this? Bless his heart. But have you looked at this at all? Even Pam Bondi, they're dragging her out with her thyroid bandage here. I don't know what they did or what her treatment was. But even she says, "Don't look at me. It was Todd Blanche, and I didn't, and I meant to do." I mean, nobody's lifting a finger. And don't forget, there's J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance, Charlie's buddy, and Usha. Usha. If Usha worked for OSHA, well, his friend, big lawyer. Well, are you going to do anything about it? Do you care about your friend? Would you like me to go over this? You know better. JD, you know better than this. And by the way, which name are you using this week? Even his friend doesn't care. Charlie's parents, nowhere to be found. Charlie's parents, nowhere to be found. Charlie's parents, nowhere to be found. Out of the calculus, out of it completely. Who's looking out for him? No one. Nobody. That is the saddest thing I've ever seen. That's the part that kills me. So sad. And nobody's doing anything about it. And when I saw this, and you might think, well, it's time to give up. No. Oh, come on, don't you think? It's like, look, you gotta move on. No. Look, there's other stuff to talk about. There's the midterms. Good, you talk about it. Go ahead. You don't need me. Well, it was so funny. We went to a birthday party, and my wife wanted to buy a balloon with helium. Well, there's no helium. Why? Because the Strait of Hormuz. You can't find helium. Helium. Who knew? Okay. You talk about helium. I'm not worried about that. I think it's time to move on. I don't think it's time to move on. I want to talk about this. Go ask a priest. Are you still talking about this Jesus thing? Yeah, I am. Don't you think it's time to move on? No, it's what I do. What do you do? I'm a cardiologist. Don't you think you should worry more about teeth? I don't want to talk about teeth. I'm a cardiologist. I play music. I play the blues. Don't you think you should be playing some waltzes? No. So this is kind of what we do. And they're going to tell us all the time, you're fixated on this. I'm fixated on this because nobody's talking about it. I'm not the only one, by the way. There's so many great people. Please do not think for a moment I'm the only one. Candace and Baron, to go down the list. Just go down because they're just as furious as I am. But I don't want to move on. No, I'm happy right here. And I know you're with me on this. I know you're with me because you are enraged and you are as angry as I am. I know this. I know this. This is some of the most fascinating stuff I've ever seen. Somebody said, I hope you don't take this the wrong way, but I always do my thought experiments where I'm talking to God. And not that I do, but I sort of, for the purposes of the experiment. And God, I always imagine God would say, may I ask you something? What is this story that you have or your thing about Erika? I was like, funny you should say that. I was going to ask you the same question. What were you thinking? I wasn't thinking anything. I didn't make Erika. You made Erika. It made Erika. Randomness made Erika. Come on, you're God. You could have said, no. Free will? You either have it or you don't. Do you want free will? Well, you got to take it with all its ramifications and all its impurities. And there's something along the line where the normal developmental arc did not take place in her particular case. It didn't take place. Why is that? I don't know why. But I would say, you know why we find it so interesting? Because we're interested how somebody can so deviate from the herd. Remember that guy, that dog whisperer, that Cesar Millan or whatever his name was? He does that. he just makes that noise. And he goes in and he said, there's always this one dog from the pack that can be held for the most part. I saw this one. It might not have been him. I think it was somebody else. It was a horse. And they said, there's something wrong with this horse. They have to put the horse down because they said this is something neurological. There's something wrong with this horse. The horse is deadly. And whatever. So far gone. Eric, and I'm not suggesting Eric should be put down. What I'm saying is Erika's is so far gone. And you know what's interesting also? Now move away from a moment. This is my favorite. When you meet people like this, you meet people who love to say, hey, I like this. Why? Well, I see a lot of people upset about something. And I could do one of a couple of things. I could come back and say, well, you know, I don't know. I could kind of agree, maybe. Or I could say something to get people angry. That'd be kind of fun. Like, I'm entertained. I like Erika. Or something something along those lines. And there's always that, and that's always like the, it's not the shit stirrer, but the person who says, I really don't have any involvement in this whatsoever. I really don't have any connection. Really? Yeah. Well, tell me why. Because I don't really care about this. Really? Do you have a hard time understanding this? What do you mean? You don't seem to feel anything from watching this? No, not really. Really? Have you ever watched anything where you have felt mad about something? Some behavior, something, maybe what was done to kids, maybe it was done to an animal. Some people are funny about this because they're into what's done to an animal. They're really, really, you can't do that to a dog. But if you ever felt that, you'd be surprised the number of people who say, no, I don't, nothing really, no. I mean, I didn't know her. It's not like I was involved in this. I mean, I had nothing to do with this. That's the interesting part too. It takes somebody a little bit different to step out of their lane and to react to something which really they had nothing to do with, and frankly, which they have no connection to, but it's the fact that it's so wrong. See, that's the thing that most of you are understanding. You're absolutely, positively, you're so offended by this. But yet, I'm interested also in the people who, and you see them here, they just don't get it. They, honest to God, do not get it. And there are people who just, I am so surprised that President Trump hasn't shown more of this. Charlie was instrumental. Charlie was really instrumental. And I would think President Trump, seriously, after having been through a few of these instances himself, could have been in that category. You think he would have had some kind of a bonding connection. Why doesn't he feel anything? Why do you think that is? Why isn't he? Because he can't. I think we know why. Who's responsible for this? Who did? I know Erika doesn't know. Erika, who do you think was responsible for this? Let me ask you. Who was responsible for this? Who did this? You got to give me right now. I'm having a meeting. I'm the lead detective, the lead prosecutor. You're on my team. And I want you to tell me right now whom you think so I can go in that direction. Give me the answer. Who was responsible for this? Tell me. Who? Why do you think? Who do you think? Tell me. I can go in a lot of different directions. Where do you think? Tell me. IDF, somebody says. You think Israel did this? You think he posed such a threat to Israel? Charlie did? You think Charlie did? Charlie did this. With all this going on, and this is important. This is important because when you say something, I'm going to play devil's advocate. You mean that with all of the people going on, with the ICC, the ICJ, all of the various prosecutions for against Bibi Netanyahu for war crimes and the like. Do you think that out of all these people, not one of the prosecutors, not anybody in Europe, not anybody who's pushing this really, really hard. But in the United States, Charlie was so important, and he was just starting to kind of come about that it was worth the risk. And you got to answer the question, because you got to ask yourself, do these people know what they're doing? Yeah, they know what they're doing. They've done it before. Mossad in particular, not really the IDF, but Mossad, but the Amman, their military intelligence, they're very good at this, and they have been. They're also very good at gadgets and things like that. And remember the exploding beeper, and we're talking about perhaps people have suggested the idea of maybe there's microphones that explode and all that. Okay, but the question you got to ask yourself is, did they think out of everything? Do you really think? I'm asking the question that somebody in Israel said, okay, listen, we have to stop this. Why? We got to bring in they're called ketons, or keton is like it's like the best suit company probably in the world, but they bring in I think they're called keton. They're the hitters, and you're going to bring them in. You're going to say, I want you to do this in front of everybody, in a way that is just, we got to teach him a lesson. Or why wouldn't they just said, look, just make him go away? Do you want to teach him a lesson? Imagine I'm the person and I'm going to do it, right? I'm the one who's enlisted. Now, do you want to send a message, or do you want him just eliminated? If you want him just eliminated, that's easy. One day he's just, hey, where'd he go? I don't know. It was an accident. Okay. Very easy. You can do it very, very. This way involves something that looks very coordinated, and that will direct the eyes at us. Do you think we should do this? You ever think about that? Or do you, like other people, say, these people are just cray. They don't care. They just get a hair up their ass and they'll take you out. There is a part of me, a very part of me, an interesting part, that says, no. I've always liked the idea of multiple interests. Who do you think was in the immediate, think about this, who suffered the most immediate of danger had Charlie been allowed to continue doing what he does? Who do you think was in the immediate danger and may have freaked out completely? Who do you think? Remember, come on, you're on my table, you're on my team, and I'm asking you to investigate this. What do you think? Who would be cui bono, qui prodest, by the way, is the other one too. Who benefits? Yeah. But also not who benefits. Who had to do this to eliminate a problem? For example, if I say, listen, let's say I'm an arsonist and I torch my building, and I know that there is a guy who is the main investigator who's coming after me. And I have something to make him go away. It's not that I benefit from his departure. I'm eliminating this. It's not that well, that's interesting. Benefit makes it sound like you're almost like you're on the edge. You're not really. That's interesting. Who are some of the people? Thank you, Patriot Angel, for your comments as to my sartorial presence. Thank you so much. Who do you think? Thank you, Crystal. I should wear a tie more often. Who do you think? Israel, right? You said that. How about TPUSA? Wait a minute. Look at this. What is this? Those at TPUSA that were embezzling funds. Now, we don't know that to be true. This was alleged. Some people suggested maybe there were some problems where Charlie was asking for a Doge type of review because Charlie was unsure as to where a lot of this money was going. And Charlie, so maybe. So let's put that check mark. So now we've got, of course, Israel. People always want to blame Israel. Okay, fine. No problem with that. Second will be Doge. They was earning. Who else? Anybody else? Who would want him done? Who? Tyler Robinson? We got to talk about Tyler. What does Tyler want from this? What does Tyler want? What does Tyler want? Does he benefit or is he pissed off? I want to show you something which is very interesting. You might or might not get a kick out of this. I think you do, sort of, but I want you to listen to this. I did something the other day, and there was a repeat. There was an analysis of this feller who tried to theoretically. Remember, there was some discussion about this Jacob Wensky. Remember Jacob Wensky? Remember this dude? Did you remember him this week? Isn't that something? Jacob Wensky. Who remembers his name? Anybody? Anybody remember Jacob Wensky? Who was Jacob Wensky? Anybody? Who was Jacob Wensky? Who is this guy? Who was he? This was the 26-year-old who claimed he would harm during a TPUSA event. This is somebody who threatened ostensibly Erika Kirk. Remember that? Jacob Wensky. Did you hear that one? Remember? Did you hear that? Okay. Whatever happened in that story? Whatever happened? What about the person who was responsible, who opened fire or planned something at the White House Correspondents' Center? What happened to him? What is his name? Well, what's his name? Remember that? What happened? What was that about? I want you to listen to this. Very interesting. So there was this review that was done, and I'm going to give you listen to this. From a DSM-5 Diagnostic Statistical Manual 5 informed behavioral perspective, the publicly reported conduct that was attributed to this guy appears more consistent with, now listen to this language, impulsive grievance expression and maladaptive personality features than with evidence of organized ideological militancy or operational terrorism. I love this. Impulsive grievance expression. The language reportedly used that he talked about demonstrates several clinically recognizable markers, often associated with dysregulated emotional functioning, grandiosity, persecutory framing, externalization of blame, and apocalyptic moral rhetoric. Statements portraying ideological opponents as scum or existential threats suggest, listen to this, cognitive distortion patterns frequently observed in individuals experiencing intense identity-based grievance formation. You following that? Okay. Question number 2. Where did you see that in the Tyler Robinson case? Anything? Anywhere? Did you see that? No. Did you see it anywhere? No. What did he do? I don't know. This is Tyler. This guy's perfect. This guy is great. Remember, the behaviors come in and they're saying, Tyler didn't say shit. Tyler said, I love you, Snookums, I'm sorry, I was there. Say, guys, I'm sorry. You want to take somebody out and there's nothing out there. Furthermore, importantly, nothing publicly described indicates the structured planning behaviors typically associated with sophisticated violent actors. There is no reported evidence of operational security, target surveillance, acquisition of specialized materials, logistical coordination, or tactical preparation. Instead, the behavior of this guy appears impulsive, emotionally reactive, and digitally performative. Let's go to Tyler. What do we have with him? Nothing. I'm sorry. Hey, can you bring back grandpa's shooting iron? He's gonna be mad at me. I'm gonna go to Dairy Queen. You buying this? You see this? I can't wait for the experts to come in and say, do an assessment. Does Tyler make sense to you? No. Let's go on. Listen to this. Now, this is this guy, this is this Jadrul Wensky, rather. Okay. Clinically, several provisional personality dimensions could hypothetically be explored by a qualified forensic evaluator, including narcissistic traits, borderline personality features, or antisocial tendencies involving poor impulse control and hostility projection. However, assigning any formal diagnosis without direct examination is wrong. Now, the online communication style, these people tend to want to project what it is they feel like. What did Tyler say? Nothing. This guy who was on Facebook who said this terrible thing, the online communication style is notable. Public social media threads often function psychologically as emotional discharge mechanisms designed to create visibility, significance, or imagined power for otherwise socially marginalized individuals. In forensic psychology literature, this is sometimes associated with leakage behavior, where emotionally overwhelmed individuals communicate fantasies of violence long before possessing realistic capability to execute them. Let's look at Tyler. Anything like that? Nothing. It doesn't make any sense. Nothing. There's just this. And then you can go and you can ask people who knew him. His family said repeatedly, that's not our guy. That's not Tyler. So what we're going to be seeing right now is something very, very interesting. We're going to be seeing his behavior looked at and dissected in ways that nobody ever could have imagined. And it's fascinating. And what you're going to find ultimately, my dear friend, what you're going to find is something very, very serious. You're going to find nothing there. But nobody's going to be looking because you're going to be told specifically, look, he's the killer. That's it. Just shut up and move on. And we're going to tell for Charlie, no, Charlie. We're not going to let them get some patsy. You would not want that. I wouldn't want that. Candace wouldn't want that. Nobody would. Nobody here wants that. It doesn't make any sense. Talk to this guy. He didn't do it. None of this. None of this. Nothing. You don't do something of this. For you to do something of this renown, of this violence, of this inexplicable horror, you've got to possess a, for lack of a better word, a belief that is so profound, it's the only thing you can talk about. Others would have known about this. You just don't surprise your woolly hatted Jamiroquai wannabe little gay boy, trans boyfriend, girlfriend, and unbeknownst to you, slip in, take grandpa's shooting iron, and keep it the most secret thing. Nobody said anything. You don't do this without a lot of people knowing this. Do you know the amount of simmering anger? You know the repetition, the circular kind of focus that you would have to exhibit in order to do this? And nobody's heard of this? It's never come up? People are saying, that doesn't sound like Tyler. What? Next, MK Ultra. MK Ultra is not what you think. It's not the Gottlieb, the usual stuff. It's not necessarily drugs. It's other people as well. There are people who are standing by from central casting, ready to be sprung, ready to go into action at a moment's notice. He is the perfect patsy. He diverts all attention away. Charlie was a royal pain in the ass to a lot of people. But Charlie was not critical necessarily to bringing down anybody in particular. Charlie was responsible for supporting conservative ideology, prototypical paleo-conservative ideology, the classic stuff. Let me ask you something right now. Who's in charge now? I'll tell you who's in charge. This new iteration of the right, this new Candace Owens group, this new group of people who, by the way, this new group of people who are not a member of any, I don't know what the word is, they're not a member of any known group there is. Take Candace, fundamentally, prototypically conservative, just to use labels that you might be able to equate yourself with. Religious, high religiosity, Catholic, family values. Certainly not the, I think the, I don't want to use this term incorrectly, the obsequious wife. Somebody who her thoughts about Zionism completely differ with prototypical Fox News ideology, completely, totally. So that she's different with there. She's also bringing in people like Anna Kasparian, Cenk Uygur, go down the list. She's freaking people out. Now we've got next into the mix Tucker Carlson. And Tucker Carlson comes along and he exhibits this particular ideology, which is even more fascinating. He's talking about things which go to the notion of evil and the Bible, very rudimentary, very, dare I say, abecedarian, very elemental and elementary, very serious stuff. Do you hear what I'm saying? Throw into the mix Pope Leo, who, by the way, just commissioned 2,000 new exorcists because he's going after evil. So let me tell you something. Charlie, the Republican Party that you knew before you were removed from our world, they shot themselves in the dick by getting rid of you. It just blew up. Everything blew up. Had they kept you alive, everything would have been horrific. Yeah, that would have been Candace. Yeah, she would have talked about some. Yeah, maybe she would have talked about, maybe she would have met with all these other people. But Charlie's removal was a catalyst. He just turned it to 11. Everything now is, and people are they're just disgusted. So what they're doing is they're coming out of their shell and they're saying, I want to get back into the game, but I don't know what I want to come back as. I'm not really sure. Have you ever met somebody who left the priesthood? You ever met that? You probably never have. And it's a very interesting thing. They come back not as an atheist, not as a, how do I say this? Not as an atheist, not as an anti-religious person. They come instead as somebody who is like starting from scratch, brand new, back to the drawing board. Eliminating things that don't make sense, which they never would have done had they not gone through that expressive, kind of like this exorcism of sorts. That's where we are right now. How many people are finding themselves with us right now where before Charlie and before Candace, you would have never been here? You might have even considered yourself a Democrat or a progressive. How many? Anybody? By the way, I've had some very interesting discussions not off air, but DMing, whatever, with Buckley, Tucker's brother, who's very, very interesting. How many of you are brand new? You're an agnostic, a heretic. How many of you are brand new who are saying, look, I don't know what I am, but I like this group and I like where you're going? How many? How many people? I'm curious. I want to know about your idea, your thoughts. How many people here are a part of something for the first time where you thought, I can't really believe I'm talking to these people. I really don't know. How many people? This is interesting. How many people brand new? I hated politics. I watched Charlie, but I am an independent. Good for you. I'm an independent the same way. I have no label. Shabby chic, you're probably just like me. You have no label. Tucker's one of the people that helped Trump to get into office. Now Trump is destroying America. Very weak. Spiritual and not religious? Nope. Been around the traps for way too long now. How many people are brand new, though? Independent. What does independent mean? Independent is a wonderful word, isn't it? It means you don't have a label. It's very weird that in life you have to have a label for something. When you go to a concert and you pay your ticket, somebody says, "Excuse me, before we let you in, would you describe yourself as a jazz fan, light jazz, bebop, cool jazz, West Coast jazz?" I don't know. Look at this. Here's one. Diane says, "I'm an independent now. I was a Republican." Hoodwinked. I'm Unitarian child. Unable to relate to others. I'm a Unitarian child. Oh, I like this. Unable to relate to others. I like this one. This is very good too. Diane says, "I'm an independent. Now was a Republican." Oh, I like that. I like that. Now, this is very interesting also. I was a lifetime GOP until January the 6th. Ooh. How many people have left what would be considered not MAGA conservatism, but almost Rush Limbaugh, Fox News conservatism? That's the way I call it. How many left this who said, "I'm not into that"? It didn't really do anything for me. They kind of lied to me. They would talk about, yeah. See, the social conservatism is really easy. I think men should not play sports with little girls. No shit, really? I never thought of that before. Thank you. Don't even bring that up. Don't even bring that up. How many of you have said, "You know what? I really don't know if I don't even know what I believe in." This is the most amazing thing in the world. People are talking about these folks. They're talking about fiscal this and fiscal that, whatever it is. They are basically taking our money. They're taking our money. I'm sorry. I left up poor our friend left that water. They're taking our money, and they're basically pouring it into military endeavor that have nothing to do with us. And you're going to say, "Wait a minute, what about fiscal what? What are you talking about?" "Yeah, but the job rates." Excuse me. Do you think we're just stupid? What does this mean? What do these things mean? The classic prototypical Jeffersonian liberal was somebody who believed in the Constitution. That's what I believe in. The Constitution. Absolutely, positively the Constitution. Let me give you an example. Let me just bear with me on this one. Abortion. Right? It's a kiss of death, any kind of conversation. And somebody says, "What do you think about abortion?" Well, let me ask you the question. You mean legally or you mean morally, or what do you want to do? What do you want to do? Tell me what you think. Well, do you believe it's murder? Of course it's murder. Do you want to outlaw it? No. Can't. It'll cause more problems. I want people to not do it. It's a little different that way. It's a little different. And it's very difficult. And you can sit there because you can't outlaw it. You can try, but it'll be a disaster. You just don't want to do that. You will forever rule. You will say that it's like declaring war on Iran. Iran's a bad group of people. They do terrible things to women. Okay, I'm with you. You want to go to war with them? No. Do I want to put people in jail, women who've had an abortion? No. Do I want to make them not have an abortion? Yes. Do I want to browbeat them? Yes. Do I want to create alternatives? Yes. Do I want to give out more contraception? Yes. Do I want to treat them? Yes. Do I want to consider more adoption? Yes. I hate it. Okay, that's policy. Now, Roe against Wade, worst case ever. I'm against it. The Dobbs decision, 100%. There is no federal right to abortion. Let me say that again. There is no federal right to abortion. Let me say this again. There is no federal right to an abortion. Different issue completely. Different issue completely. There is no constitutional right to an abortion. Does not exist. Never did. We've known this since day one. And finally, they came to their senses. No such thing. What does that mean? That means if you are denied, if you live in Montana, and if Montana decides to ban abortions legally, if it's against the law, and you say, "Wait a minute, This is wrong. Don't go to the federal court and claim that Roe against Wade or the Constitution in any way protects you. It doesn't. You see what I'm saying? Let me try this again. What I feel personally is over here. I'm saying to you, not only, and by the way, there is no constitutional right again for sodomy. There is no constitutional right that guarantees oral sex. Listen to me. Men, women, gay, straight, there is no constitutional right to oral sex. Fellatio, cunnilingus, whatever you want to call it, analingus, anything you want, sorry, doesn't exist. There is no constitutional right. Does that mean you can prevent it or you can prohibit it? If you want. I think politically you probably don't want to do that. But if you want to, could the state of Georgia do that? Yeah. This is where people blow their mind and go, wait a minute. Are you saying, no, I think that's a stupid law. I think it's ridiculous. Half the people here would be cracking rocks upstate. Are you kidding me? What are you talking about? It's the most stupid thing I've ever heard in my life. That's not the question. You said, is there a constitutional right for sodomy? And by the way, sodomy does not mean what you think it means. It doesn't necessarily mean buggery. It means the aforementioned. Oral activities is considered sodomy. It's unnatural sex. It's non-intromission. Okay? Now that I've cleared that up. Do you think it should be constitutionally protected? It's not constitutionally protected. There is no such thing. Not privacy, because privacy is bullshit. There's no such thing. It doesn't exist. Does this make sense to you? Does this make sense to you? It doesn't exist. There is no constitutional right to having a plasma TV, if they even have those anymore. Now, there may be some constitutional right to you being, capriciously denied of possessory interest. But there's three things the Constitution says. Only thing they said, period, end of discussion. I cannot deprive you. That's you, and you, and you, and you, and you. I cannot deprive you of life, liberty, or property. Life, death penalty, liberty, prison, property, seizing a property, eminent domain. We're putting a highway through your backyard. We're taking your house. There's the takings clause, different story. I cannot deprive you of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. Let me say it again. The government cannot deprive you of life, liberty, or property without due process. 5th, 14th Amendment. What does that mean? It means, I can deprive you of life and liberty and property. Absolutely. Absolutely. As long as I give you a hearing. Due process which is due. Notice and the right to be heard. That's it. That's all it said. Is sodomy life, liberty, or property? Is it expression? Is it free speech? Maybe. It's hard to speak when you got a mouthful of, but anyway, but the point is it? You can make that argument. But is it right to sodomy? No. If you're gay, is there a right to be gay? A constitutional right? No. You hear what I'm saying? How many are shocked by that? How many are thinking, this guy's out of his mind? Seriously. How many of you think I'm out of my mind? Do you hear what he just said? He said there's no constitutional right. I didn't say you can ban it. I didn't say that's a good idea. I'm saying there's no constitutional right. Sorry. It's not in there. It's not in there. It's not in there. It's not in there. Maybe it should have been. I don't know. It's not in there. Do you hear what I'm saying? Do you hear what I'm saying? It's not in there. So you can go all you want to a federal court, and you better come up with something, a hell of or point to something else in the Constitution. Maybe free speech. I don't know, something. Now, I may say, I think you have not a right, I think you have a natural right. Ladies, gentlemen, married couples, gays, whatever, as long as there's not a child involved, I think you can go at it. My God, you can do a chicken head and laugh at it, whatever. Oh, I don't care. I think, listen, if that makes you happy, go ahead and do it. Do it. But if somebody peeks in your window and says, is she doing enough Periscope? Is she gobbling the goose? Yeah. All right, I'm going to call and arrest you. And let's assume you're arrested for that. Can you use the Constitution to protect? No. Is there a constitutional right to gamble? No. Is there a constitutional right to marry anybody you want at any age? No. Is there a constitutional right for you to marry or not, or children? No. And there's no constitutional right for you not to marry. Meaning, so if you're the state of, let's say, Utah, and you want to be able to eliminate this right, and you decide that you look at modern, look at bless her heart, modern Motor, I don't know. Anyway, thank you for that. These are tiny little words. Let me try this again. None. There's no support. There's no constitution. There's no right to that. Constitutional. Now, what you should do is you should say this. You should be able to go to Utah or Georgia and say, listen, if you want to vote, if you want me to vote for you, yeah, you better lift this ban against oral sex, okay? Okay, because we got a lot of cunning linguists over here who will not vote for you. And they'll say, you know what? You're right. And that's the way to do it. You go to your state legislature and you say, hey, or federal, because maybe there's a federal whatever, and you say, you will suffer politically, but you do not go to the Constitution. That's it. What if your state says you don't even have an age range to marry? You can marry an embryo. You don't even have to be born. Go ahead. It's your state. There's nothing against that. The Constitution doesn't protect you against hurting people. It might protect the people being hurt by the government. Because if the government is not the transgressor, the Constitution doesn't care. Let me say this again. If the government is not the person depriving you of free speech, depriving you of life, liberty, and life, liberty, and property without due process, if they're not, it doesn't really matter. Let me ask you something. What is the only constitutional Bill of Rights provision that a private citizen can violate? What is it? Here's my imitation of Erika. Merch. Anyway, what is it? What's the only Bill of Rights provision? Name it. The only one. First, second, third? No. What is it? No. What is it? Slavery. Thank you. Hillbilly, you son of a 13th Amendment. Absolutely. It's the only provision that can be committed if you enslave somebody, you can violate the 13th Amendment, the prohibition against slavery. Don't forget, our first Constitution had the fugitive slave clause, which said if your slave runs away, you've got to return that slave. How do you like that? It's the only one. Why? So don't go to the Constitution. The drafters said we only have a few things. We only have a few things. The Constitution, by the way, is not a living Constitution. There we go. This is it. By the way, notice all my stickers from when I voted. It is not a living Constitution. It doesn't grow. It doesn't change with time. No, it's not. Bullshit. It's dead. This is it. That's it. You want to amend it? Go ahead and amend it. Repeal the damn thing. It's up to you. Let's say, imagine that you are asked to be a judge, a line judge at the U.S. Open, or for the NBA Finals, or whatever it is. And you decide, let's say tennis is even easier. Somebody you watch this, the ball is out. the ball is out or the ball is safe or whatever it is. And you say, you know what? This is stupid. These alleys, this tennis court was written during the time of Don Budge, Bill Tilden, Pancho Gonzalez. You got to be kidding me. You've got to be kidding me. This is the most ridiculous. The game has evolved. These people can serve. So, okay, I think technically, yes, I think technically the ball is fair, but I think as the game evolves, we really can't look at these rules anymore because they're just wrong. They don't apply. The game is a living game. The tennis rules should be, they'd say, shut up. You can't do that. Same thing with this. You don't just say it evolves. In 1965, Griswold was a case. Griswold, this is when we lost our minds. Griswold was a case that Griswold prohibited the sale and the use and the whatever of contraception, even among married couples. And they said this is the most stupid thing in the world. And by the way, it was put out because of some kind of a concession to the Knights of Columbus, the Catholics. Nobody ever. I think some poor guy, Griswold, he bought up rubbers or something. I don't know. He paid to just go away. And they said, no, we're going to fight it. So went to the Supreme Court. William O. Douglas, who was a lunatic. I think he was there might still be the longest. I think he was the longest Supreme Court, longest SCOTUS judge ever, I believe, or justice. I believe it was William O. Douglas. He was there for 36 years and 209 days. 36 years. Clarence Thomas, over 34 years. And Justice Field, 34 years. So William O. Douglas, this guy was something. So what he did was he came up with this thing called privacy. He came up with privacy. And he said that when you take the first, the third, the whatever it is, and if you, I don't have where is my globe? My globe is nowhere to be found. In any event, if there's a globe, where the sun is behind the earth, you see the rays that emanate. That's the penumbra. And he said that when you have the constitutional rights, there are rights that emanate as a penumbra. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? What is this? This is bullshit. And that these rights, though not written, exist because of the penumbra. I go, what the hell is a penumbra? And he came up with this thing called privacy. They said, what? Privacy. Where's privacy? I just made it up because of the penumbra. Would you shut up with the penumbra? What the hell is a penumbra? What are you talking about? And that became the basis of Roe against Wade. Privacy. And it's called substantive due process, which makes no sense. There is substantive laws and procedural laws. Substantive laws and procedural laws. Substantive laws say you can't commit murder. Procedural law says if you commit murder, you got to bring him to trial within whatever. That's a procedure. Process is called. Process is procedure. Substantive or procedure. Procedural due process is like oxymoronic. It's a procedural substantive. Huh? They say sometimes these laws are so great that we must demand somehow. Scalia, Bork, who would have been great, said, what are you talking about? And some of these people were absolutely in favor of a woman's right to an abortion. They said, but no. That's like saying you have a right to stuff. Huh? You have a right to stuff. You can't take my stuff. Or you're not. There's a guaranteed right of happiness. There's no life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. What are you talking? This is what happened. They've been fighting this forever. And the Dobbs case, which eliminated Roe against Wade, said there's no such thing as privacy. It doesn't exist. And with privacy came sodomy and all this other kind of bullshit. It doesn't mean. Let me give you an example. Years ago, we're talking about stuff. I said, what if I brought out a person who weighed 500 pounds, put in some skates and put him in front of a hockey, the goal and these pucks hit him and they can't get past him. Is that okay? They said, is there anything in the rule book that says I can't do that? Probably not. Do you say, no, you can't do that? Well, because no. Does the rule say that? Does the rule say that? One time we had a law, it was a damnest thing. There was a case years ago. There's something called expressio unius est exclusio alterius. The expression of one is the exclusion of another. When they say it's at night, they mean at night. When they say it's 21 years old or 55 miles per hour, they mean 21, 55. They mean exactly what it says. And you can't read into it. That's what they meant. That's what they said. So one time there was a case with this guy. I was just brand new private practice, left the prosecutor's office, and I got this call. A friend of mine said, listen, my friends were trying to send me a case. We got a case of a guy whose daughter, some crazy kid, she was at a parade and threw a bottle or something, broke, and they charged her with something. Just plead her out. Don't worry about it. I'll give you a couple $100. So I said, I read the statute, which I don't think anybody ever has. Nobody ever read this. And it said it's illegal to throw broken glass. It is illegal to throw broken glass. And I said, obviously, as you're probably thinking, the glass wasn't broken until if they threw it. So I told the father, I said, we're going to trial. He says, I'm not going to pay for a trial. I said, no, it's on the house. I said, I got to do this. I can't plead her guilty. She had a bottle. She threw it. But these idiots in the town, it's like a city ordinance, wrote to throw broken glass. Who wrote it? It's like Erika's prose. Who writes this stuff? And I basically said, Judge, the glass wasn't broken. Anyway, we won. Not because of any brilliance on my part, because that's what it said. That's what lawyers do. We read it. This is what it said. That's it. There was a case one time that said it is unlawful to commit, is to loiter and prowl for the purposes of fellatio, cunnilingus, sodomy, or intercourse. What? This was the city ordinance. What was the problem? A bunch of prostitutes were in the corner wearing, like those Daisy Dukes. I go, hey. And cars say, hey. Prostitute. They didn't have a sign, but they look like prostitutes. 8 o'clock in the morning, they're standing in the corner and they're waving. Anything wrong with that? Anything wrong with that? Come on, you know what they were doing. They're prostitutes. Okay. But they're waving. And they were starting to assemble. And then more women show up and they're waving. They're waving. So they pass this, all this is they're loitering or prowling. I'll give you $5 if you show me what a loiter is, and $10 if you show me what a prowl is. What is a prowl? I don't even know what that means. Anyway, if you loiter or prowl for the purposes of inducing or soliciting or whatever, fellatio, cunnilingus, sodomy, or intercourse, intromission, coitus, whatever you want to call it. It's the most stupid thing ever. The problem was simple. I don't blame you. You got a bunch of hookers waving, but you can't pass a law that says you can't wave. You can't pass a law that says you can't sleep in public. What does sleeping in public mean? What if you're at a park bench and you fall asleep for a second? You're breaking the law? It's stupid. This is what happens when people get involved in the law. Leave people alone. If you want to get to it, figure a way out of it. Don't look to the law. Don't look to the Constitution. It doesn't work the way you think it does. And that's it. Period. And that's what I believe in. So to round this thing up, my friends, on this, the last day of the month of May, I say to you, first of all, thank you for being here for 2 hours and 4 minutes, letting me provide disquisition ad nauseum regarding what I believe in. But let me tell you something right now. We are so pissed off. Going back to where we started from Erika, and we're not going to forget what they did to Charlie. Period. And I'm not going to stop. And you're not going to stop. And nobody can make us. Because we are right. Do you understand this? We are right. And there's nothing you can do. My friends, I thank you. Thank you for being with us. 2 hours, 4 minutes, and 35 seconds or so. How are we doing on this? I'm 300. I'm 900. I'm still 46 new subscribers away from 400,000. Just 46. That's all I need. I'm at 399, 954. That's it. 46. And it's been like all day. Come on, come on, come on. Candace, 6 million. I'm just 50. That's it. Just 40. I just so I can go like, How many you got? Well, 40. How much? 400. No, it's not 400,000. It's 399, 954. Okay, all right. Fair enough. But that's the way it is. So thank you. But because you've been there since day one, and I appreciate that. Because we're gonna get the message out, whether you like it or they like it or not. My friends, I thank you. Have a great, great day. Thank you so much. Please follow Mrs. L at Lynn's Warriors. Please accept my love and my thanks for you. Please subscribe to the channel here, Lionel Nation. Again, we just need 46. Please hit that little bell so you're notified of live streams and new videos. And please like this video. And whatever you do, dear friends, I always ask you always to accept my profound love, my profound appreciation for the fact that you are allowing me into your heart, in your mind, in your soul, in your home, in your head. I appreciate that. So until we meet again tomorrow, June 1st, I say to you as I always do, the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue ya. Dad.